Around. We're hanging out by the fountain tonight. We'll get started in a second. Give everybody. So you're looking. It looks weird. There you can kind of see me because we're looking out of a window. It's nighttime. We're looking out into the garden. Looks like there's a storm coming in. Oh no. If we look up there. Okay, yeah, we can kind of see the tower. Kind of classic. Oh, thank you. Milo's welcome. Yeah, everybody, enjoy the view here a second. Just got a drink delivered, which was listed as bitter melon. No, sorry, not bitter melon, bitter lemon, which I hope is delicious. I figured it at least sounded refreshing. Mud. So it's not a swimming pool. It is just a fountain. There is a swimming pool elsewhere. Although, I mean, you could probably just jump in and swim. Oh no, welcome. Just another brick. Hello, everybody. Maybe I'll get us turned around here. We'll get started with our regular programming. Let's see here. There we go. That should be okay. I had to go into the city, the big city. I figured, since we were going to be doing one of these and I had a bunch of other things to do, so I'm staying at a hotel, and this is my last night here. So it's a good opportunity that we could sit down here in the lobby and we could gather around. Kind of like if we were all having some kind of conference for a conference on donuts and the importance of donuts in society. And then now, after the conference, we're going to gather in the lobby and we're going to talk about brains and mental health and what we're going to do with our brains for the week ahead. I was thinking about brains again today, and something that comes up a lot, which is friendships and building relationships. The reason I was thinking about brains today, though, is when I was in the gym, everybody else in the gym was on their phone a lot. And there are absolutely like all sorts of reasons why we'd use our phone in the gym. But I think what was unique about this was, well, actually not unique, but what made me consider raising it today as we got started with our session was the fact that there were only these other two guys in the gym at the same time, but they couldn't not be on their phone. Like if they were not using a machine, they were on their phone. And it just got me noticing how much we just automatically default to filling that space. Right? If you're done an exercise, if you're waiting on an elevator, if you're, standing somewhere or waiting for a bus to come, whatever, we have that urge to fill that space. And that can just get in the way of a lot of other opportunities or potential. But maybe we don't have to fill the space. Because also, I think a lot of the time something I hear from people in our community, online, and so on, is people feeling lonely, people feeling like they don't know how to make friends. But it's also the case maybe that we have so much that we can engage with other than other people. And so we are also, and it's not like one of those things where you could say, okay, well, fine, I won't use my phone. Because everybody else is doing it around you. And so even if you were to put it down, it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's going to be able to engage with you. But just something to be aware of. Yeah, we're so we're so into being online the moment there's any space that, yeah, it does take us away from doing a lot of other things that maybe we want to do. James said you normally just watch these, but that would say hello and ask some questions. Excellent. Welcome. Jump in and ask some questions. Paul, Will, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, Marley said I use my phone a lot to not feel anxiety, which gives me more anxiety because I'm not living in the moment. And that was part of it when I noticed people using their phones to be in the gym. It had that feeling of somebody who's aware of being alone and maybe a little anxious and wanting to seem like they have something to do. Like if somebody's feeling alone at a party, I used to do this all the time, feeling like, oh, awkward. I better look like I have an important message on my phone I need to answer or respond to. Yeah, we don't, that's the thing. Again, we fill the space so we don't get that opportunity to confront those fears. Like it's actually really useful to notice, wow, I feel really nervous right now. Okay, let's touch that. Let's be there with that insecurity. Like, what is it? If we're constantly filling that space, we don't get to turn around and tickle the monster under its chin. Just another brick. So I try not to use my phone while in the gym, but I don't know what to do to fill the space. Yeah, you don't have to. But yeah, I don't know how to make friends in the gym. And I do want to make friends because it's, there you have, people who are there, the gym is a great example. They all have something in common and they are all doing something together at the same time. But it's just so common to kind of put up, oh, I'm busy, I can't interact with you. Mud, he said, I have urges to fill space right now. I should move, not sit. I need to do things and get the day over with, etc. Yeah, this pressure to do things. I mean, yeah, it's not unique to us pulling out our phone. It existed before our smartphones existed. So much of what we end up struggling with when we're struggling with our mental health, I find it useful to see it's just the brain kind of going, do a thing, do a thing, do a thing. You see it like when it throws up any kind of fear, it's just going, whoa, this could be uncertain. Do a thing about it. Doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter that we don't need to do anything about it. The brain it seems like the brain associates being busy and stressed with safety. So it helped me to see that it always wanted to have problems because it only felt safe if we were stressed and fixing a problem. So learning how to make it okay to not be constantly fixing a problem was really valuable on the taking care of the brain journey. We don't have to be doing stuff all the time. I know, big if true, right? Oh, Marlos said, is it because we worry about the judgment of other people, or do we judge ourselves for not being good enough? I find it's often both, right? We're constantly putting ourselves down, constantly seeing, the phrase that I often bring up is letting people know that you're whole, right? As in complete, you are not a whole, as in a thing you need to dig yourself out of. But we're so often trying to dig ourselves out of this hole. We see ourselves as this problem to fix, as having this kind of emotional debt that we need to go and pay off somehow, but then we're always trying to pay it off. So that's why, like in You Are Not a Rock, and the mind workout, I talked about keeping success close. It's really useful to see ourselves as successful today, to recognize that you are enough. We're much more effective and can do much more in life when we're spending success. We say, look, like I am good enough, I'm doing really well, I've done enough. What do I want to spend that on? Rather than seeing life as this attempt to pay off some imaginary debt, to be good enough. But then as part of that, we're often comparing ourselves to others, judging ourselves, and that becomes just like any kind of contamination compulsion. Right? We're seeing ourselves as this contamination to clean away. And just like with any contamination compulsion, we're going to judge ourselves as contaminated, even if we're not. because the brain just wants the compulsion. So if we do a lot of compulsions around trying to be better and trying to fix the problem, then it makes sense the brain's going to judge us as contaminated and needing fixing. So then we just do more and more and more and more and more cleaning, but we'll never be clean enough. We'll never be clean enough for whatever it is we think will come after we become clean enough. So we can just go and live our lives now. Yeah, Will, a great example there. He said, I think a comparable practice I sometimes catch myself doing is making sure I'm using my hours productively. Yeah. We're always like, oh, I've got to do more. I've got to produce because we're trying to pay off that debt. We're trying to clean away things. Oh, Div, thanks for the kind message. I'm glad this has been helpful on your road to recovery. I mean, enjoy the steps ahead too. Marlos, he asked a question here. Just a second, I'm gonna notice my mouth getting dry. I was just on a call with clients, so I feel I've been talking a bunch already. Said my main question would be about judgment from other people, especially with weird people being shared on social media to ridicule. People film other people and post them online to get likes. I have bright red hair and heard several different groups of people joke about it with saying I'm a Pokemon. Like, it's not bad because Pokemons are cool. But I worry I'll be put online and ridiculed. Oh, Marlos, so one of the things I look at there, is how are you treating yourself? So how are you being kind to yourself? How are you celebrating yourself? Because we don't control other people. Like if other people want to, do something that's like posting videos of people online to ridicule them, unhealthy, unhelpful, harassing, all sorts of things. I mean, ideally that would be a thing people wouldn't do. But we don't control that. What we do control, though, is kind of being a colleague to ourselves. So we're kind of always working with ourselves, just usually up here. And one of the things I find really important is that we're establishing a trusting relationship with ourselves in how we talk to ourselves, how we support ourselves, how we encourage ourselves to go and take on responsibility, to do things, etc. Because we don't control other people. But in life, if we run into some challenges, it's going to be about us supporting ourselves. However, if we have a practice of constantly criticizing and judging ourselves, then we're not very trusting of running into a challenge, because then we're left working with ourselves, who's been constantly criticizing and undermining us. And so that's really rough. We're like, oh, if other people don't support me, I gotta be stuck with this guy? Well, he spends all day criticizing me. So I would look at that. Just can you be a good colleague to yourself? We don't control what other people do. But if we're good colleagues to ourselves, we can handle what other people do. Yo, Adam, thanks for stopping by. I hope I'm doing good out here. I hope you're doing well too. The bitter melon is refreshing. It's pretty bitter though. Yeah, Marlos, people could make up a story about you. But as long as you know what's true, as long as you're building connections, can also be a really important thing. Building support with people that you want to support. Because we're afraid of being alone. And you'll see the brain worry about these things like, oh, what if people attack us? What if people say something that's not true about us, etc. They're all very like, what if we're alone with the group? And so one of the practices that can be really valuable with that is not only building a great relationship with ourselves, but building a community with other people. So that we can say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I don't control that other stuff. But look, I've got a community and I'm building a community that I really enjoy. Rocky Fighter, yes, how to practice self-compassion. I always suggest practicing it aggressively and vigorously. I just saw, speaking of vigorous, I just thought there's a giant out in that pond, so also not a swimming pool. For anybody who's just joined, there's a big pond out here with a fountain, and I can see there are fish in it. There's a huge, giant goldfish. And oh, it just swam away vigorously. And that was the reason I thought about that. That's the reason why, like in Japan, there's a particular time of year, I think it's around May, right? Maybe somebody can correct me. When you put up like goldfish, like koi, kites. Because yeah, the goldfish represents like strength and vigor. So we should practice self-compassion like a goldfish. Dev said, I have a question. Do you know about something called interoceptive meditation and exteroceptive meditation? Yes, I think I know about them. Is there, yeah, like, I don't know, is there a follow-up to that? Like just from the words, I think what they are is evident, but yeah, what are you curious about them? Nathan said, how do I get out of bed when I feel stuck here with depression, no energy, and just wasting my day in bed? Well, yeah, would you find it useful to get out of bed? Marlos, yeah, I said, I usually want to be a shut-in because it keeps me safe. No worries about other people judging me when they can't see you. But so that's exactly it. So often that we think that's going to make us feel safe, but it actually makes us feel unsafe and vulnerable because we aren't building a community where we would feel safe. So it's about recognizing that social anxieties, if we didn't like people, we would not have social anxieties because we'd be like, yeah, just like you probably don't have anxieties about being judged by fish because you don't care about being part of a fish community, a school of fish. But you do care about humans, which is why it makes you anxious. And so what happens is we often do the thing that's unhelpful, right? We withdraw from people, but that's gonna make the brain more afraid because it's making the very thing it's afraid of come true. It's afraid of being rejected by people. So if you self-reject and avoid people, that's not going to make you feel safe or resolve the anxiety. That's going to increase the amount of anxiety because the very thing you're afraid of is now coming true. So it's actually way more effective to build community and connect more with people. Oh, Mud, you're watching Canadian geese in a field. I hope you have protection, like strong walls and distance from the Canadian geese because they can be so aggressive. They are really the mountain lion of Canada, not to be mistaken with Canadian mountain lions. Marlos, you said, am I in Japan right now? You'll be in Japan in a week. I'm not in Japan right now, but I'll be there in 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. Rocky said, is it hard to understand mental health tools to apply in OCD recovery? Because my brain chatter that you have not knowledge OCD. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking there. Mateus, he said, is it true that ruminating on good thoughts is also bad? So one thing that can be helpful is seeing, like I wouldn't even frame it as good or bad, because then we get into, like ruminating becomes the new contamination that we're trying to fix. And then we just get upset about that and we're constantly doing compulsions around that. So what I find more useful is to just look at time spent in head. Because also seeing, yeah, there's not good ruminating, bad ruminating, etc. There's us spending time in our head spending time on imaginary things rather than in the real world. There's us time traveling in our heads. And yeah, we can do that on things that make us anxious. We can do that on things we like. If we practice that a lot, then the brain just gets good at it, so it wants to do it all of the time. So it's really useful to learn how to get bad at ruminating about anything, get bad at spending time in our heads, but in a really kind way. It really helped me to just notice, oh, am I spending time in my head? Okay, I don't have to do that. That's not a thing I want to like get good at anymore. What would I rather do right now? What would I rather give my time and energy to? What would I rather give my attention to? And then just seeing that, yeah, when you notice you're all up here, you can choose to do something different and be out here. And that's always available to us. Yeah. So as Alba said below, there's no difference between ruminating on bad thoughts and good thoughts. Yeah, they're all just thoughts. Like little fish swimming around up there. Will said, a key message of yours is that we should focus on what we want to build and move towards. What if I always find myself facing uncertainty when it comes to pursuing different courses of action? Yeah, that's totally okay. And I expect that. There, I find it really useful to see that we're exploring a wilderness. And unless you've been reincarnated, it's going to be your first time through that wilderness. So you will not have certainty about the path. So curiosity can be helpful. Essentially, the only thing we're kind of certain about is that we're choosing a path to be curious about. We're saying, hey, I'm interested in exploring this direction. I don't know if this is a good path. I don't know what it's going to lead to. It may just lead to a swamp full of alligators. Okay, but I'm going to go and learn that. So I'm choosing to go in this direction. And I'm going to be curious about that. Nathan said, I have a hard time figuring out my values because my negative thoughts and feelings tell me I have none. Yeah, it really helped me to even see like values aren't a thing we have. So I was just using the example of navigating the wilderness. Values are very much like a direction in the wilderness. So we don't have a direction. We just pick one, and it'll change all the time. Like we may be going through one part of the wilderness that's about hiking, but then we come to another part and it's about crossing a lake with a canoe. And so we value canoeing at that point. And then maybe we come to a mountain and we value mountain climbing. And we're going to change what we value. The direction is going to change based on our context. And we just get to choose. And so it's not about kind of getting really like, I am my values. No, like values are just directions. They're compass directions. They're recognizing you have to cross a lake, so you're going to take off your mountain climbing equipment. You don't have to be like, I'm a mountain climber, so I'm going to mountain climb through this lake. That'll be really, really difficult. It's much more useful to see, yeah, like you're separate from values too, so you can pick up values. The brain's like, you don't have any. You're like, yeah, of course I don't. I'll just pick some. Deb, I've been doing, so this is carrying on from the interoceptive and exteroceptive meditation practice. He said, I've been doing an interoceptive meditation practice and it works for me. I recently learned that an exteroceptive meditation practice would be better for me specifically. So I tried it and it's hard. Yeah, I mean, there's many different meditation practices to explore, and then there's also like, yeah, you could group them into categories like interoceptive and exteroceptive. I found it helpful to explore different practices and notice what was hard. So for instance, I found love and kindness meditation for super hard. Right, I was so skilled at holding on to anxiety for weeks. I could be anxious about something like really, like almost in a panic attack any moment, anxiety on one topic for weeks. but trying to hold like compassion and love and kindness for longer than a couple seconds was incredibly challenging and difficult. And so it was useful for me to say, oh, like that's something that I struggle with. I'm interested in exploring that further. But it's always a balance. So, there are certain meditation practices that I really like. So I both have the kind of meditation practices that I like and enjoy exploring and pushing the boundaries there, where it's like, okay, I know how to do this and I really want to take it further. And then there's also just exploring practices that I find kind of difficult, and being able to look at, oh, why do I find that difficult? Well, let's go sit in that. Like, let's explore that. And so I find, yeah, having a mixture of both is really valuable. Will, she said, what I'm getting at is in deciding the sort of life we want to live, what we value the most. Don't we to some extent have to rely on intuition and emotions to decide what we prioritize? I mean, you could choose anything though. Like, yeah, thinking you're there kind of looking out in the wilderness. Yeah, some days you may say, you know what, I really feel like a mountain kind of day. Like, let's go do something difficult, is an option. Yeah, another day you may say like, oh, I don't know why, but I just feel like going down this path. And yeah, you might say, oh, that was like intuition. But then another day you may have asked somebody. You say you saw somebody who became kind of like an athlete in something that you're interested in. So, in the wilderness metaphor, they might be an adventure runner. And so you ask them, you say, hey, I want to do that thing you're doing. Which path would you recommend here in the forest? And they may say, oh, well, when I was starting out, this is the path I took. And then you might take that. You may have a specific task you want to work on in the wilderness that you've been given. So an example that springs to mind is if somebody has a family they want to take care of. So yeah, they may say, hey, I'm not totally free to just choose anything. I'm going to pick a path that's going to care for my family. And so they're going to look at, okay, which of the possible paths might be best for caring for my family. And their intuition and their emotions might have been telling them to go in a totally different path. And they say, hey, I noticed that, but I'm going to go this way. So yeah, there's many different things that you may choose based on. Yep. Blooper 785 said, does replacing bad thoughts with good thoughts count as rumination? I would count it as, yeah, time spent on head. You could also call it a compulsion, like generally like trying to clean away some brain stuff with other brain stuff, because you don't have to spend any time on brain stuff. So yeah, trying to like get a good thought up there, I would see as the same thing, like not as any different in any particular way. Dev, so you're asking, yeah, so should I just switch to my earlier interoceptive meditation practice or continue with the exteroceptive meditation practice? Yeah, I don't know if maybe you had already asked that. I don't know what time it is. Yeah, you might have already asked that before I was talking about having the mix. But yeah, it's really about exploring. Like I would ask you, yeah, what do you want to do with your meditation practice? Because there may be, just like with physical fitness, there might be types of physical fitness that you find really challenging. And that doesn't mean you have to only make yourself do exercises in the gym that you hate. But sometimes noticing the challenge, like if we really struggle with cardiovascular capacity, we might also say, hey, actually, I want to build up my cardiovascular capacity a bit. But you may still really like powerlifting. And so you're like, yeah, I'm going to build it up a bit, but I don't really need it. S. He said, how do I stop putting myself in every situation that I see on social media or life in general? I try to relate everything, even if it's not relatable. I imagine myself in that situation. Yeah, well, I mean, you can see that this is happening. And so, what would you like to spend your time and energy on instead of doing that? Adam said, I'd like your advice on how to deal with the mind OCD in brackets, tainting, ruining first time experiences, objects, new people, etc. It is difficult to continue with events after the mind ruins my feelings for them. So there's a couple things that I'd unpack here. So one, the brain, the mind, OCD, whatever you want to call it, tainting things, like judging them as contaminated, is that classic contamination pattern we can see in many different areas. So one of the things is if we're chasing a goal of like, well, I want things to be clean and not tainted, it really helped me to see that guarantees the brain's going to taint it. And so right away it can be useful to kind of remove that as a goal. Because also seeing things can just be like just the way they are. There doesn't have to be like judging something as good, like untainted. Because if you're judging some other things, it's like, oh, this today was so good because my brain didn't taint this. Oh, I'm so glad it's clean. That guarantees the brain's going to obsess about something else being tainted. And then it's going to contaminate it so that you can chase that clean. So I'd watch out just as a goal. Like you don't have to chase that at all. Chasing the goal is making it contaminated. Also, it really helps to recognize, and you can think about somebody with like a hand washing compulsion. It also helps to recognize that that perception of it being tainted is wrong. So just like somebody will wash their hands multiple times and still feel like it's contaminated, even though they are objectively clean, like they could not be cleaner, you're gonna have the same thing. And this across the board. So anytime people are checking and judging a feeling, they're gonna feel the opposite. And it really helps to start to recognize that's a delusion. It's not tainted. So part of it's also that, like recognizing, oh, my brain's gonna tell me this thing is tainted and ruined, and that's a thing it does, and that is a delusion. That's just not true. Right? So one, dropping that goal of chasing that. Two, recognizing that it is just a delusion. But then the other thing is you mentioned there just at the bottom of your question, said it is difficult to continue with events after the mind ruins my feelings for them. So I'd also really be looking at what you mean around that. It helped me to see that. Again, this is related to the checking and judging around feelings and the goals, but whatever it is you're wanting to do there around feelings, and if you're checking and attaching meaning to feelings around events and practices, that's a recipe for disaster. Feelings are like I can see there's a storm coming outside. Feelings are just weather. And so, because imagine if I said, "Oh, hey guys, we gotta end the live session because the weather outside is not good. So I'm gonna this is no longer a good experience." Wouldn't be that useful, right? Like I value being here and creating this space and us, doing things as a community. The weather can be bad outside. I could have any feeling right now, and that's okay. Making this space. Having this conversation, the actions of that are consistent regardless of the weather inside of me right now. The feeling is not going to determine so you could say like success or the practice that we're engaged in. So I'd also look at that, because if that's how you're measuring events right now, again, the brain's going to do that thing where it's going to tell you, oh, it was the wrong feeling, that's contaminated, it was bad, etc. Even though it was, a totally fine experience. It was a bug. I think it went away. Oh no, it's still there. Bye, bug. James. So I still struggle with intrusive thoughts. For example, there goes the bug. For example, walking out of buildings, my brain always throws up a horrible thought that something is going to happen if I don't go back in and walk out again. Yeah, James, so there the thing to do is to not go back. Nimra said, I recovered from OCD. Don't ruminate. I'm just going to read through it because you said, do ask for reassurance. Don't do any compulsion. Adib. Oh, I hope you have a great day too. You have a football match. Oh, please enjoy that. Thank you for stopping by and participating. Have a great football match. There's Larry Fresh. Hello, I'm good. How are you? Place we're in, yeah, we're in a hotel lobby right now. Marlos, he said, judging the past will not change the past and will not help the now and will not get rid of difficult things in the future. It only robs you from the now. Yeah, it's not a fun pastime. Marlos said, when I want to give something to someone, it feels not genuine. You said you should think about what you want to give, not get. But I always felt like I wanted to get approval and love for giving. Yeah, but then you see the getting there again. One of the things, the key, like we were just talking about a moment ago, it's not about the feeling. It's about the action. So it's celebrating the giving. You may have all sorts of feelings at the time. They can come along for the ride. We're not giving stuff to like feel a particular way or feel some kind of connection. Blooper said, let me grab my drink. It is lemony. It's refreshing. I realize that I preemptively think of a good thought before I do anything, so much so that it has become second nature. How do I stop it? When I realize I've done a compulsion, try to stop the bad thoughts come in and I'm flooded with anxiety. So it'll be that, like, can that be okay? Because that's what's gonna happen. Anytime we cut out a compulsion, I mean, the brain's just doing kind of classic withdrawal. It's also going to associate the compulsion with safety. So the moment you cut out the compulsion, and that's a great example, when you cut out the compulsion of like, oh, I've got to have a good thought, brain goes, oh no, like we're not having a good thought now. So does that mean bad things are going to happen? So it's going to go into like danger mode. And so a lot of anxiety is going to come up, all of that. And so making that okay, saying, hey, I'm not going to do this compulsion. I know the brain's going to think we're in danger mode and I want to show it that things are okay. So brain, you can go into danger mode. I'm gonna show you that we can handle this. I knew you were gonna do that and it's okay. Come along with me. And then you take it and show it how to do wild things in danger mode. Ads, thank you so much for the kind word. Thanks for stopping by. Landy. Welcome. Said all my compulsions are the same flavor. I love different flavors of compulsions. Oh, here you're gonna share the flavor. Said, what if I can't handle that stressor? Because I lose my mind, get depressed, and have suicidal ideation. A recommended exposure for this. So key thing. So one, this is a really common uncertainty, a really common set of compulsions. The fear of losing control of ourselves is, you could say one of the kind of like really fundamental patterns. Many different topics, flavors of obsessions are really just about, oh no, what if I lose control of myself? And so you ask what the exposure is, but you're already exposed to it. You just described the exposure, right? The exposure is already there. Now it's time to look at the response prevention piece. and two things, what I always suggest to people with this. So one, yeah, you're going to look at the response prevention piece. So the brain's going to throw that up. You're going to go, yeah, neat, uncertainty brain. That's great. Let's go live our lives, because the thing we're afraid of is losing control to some brain stuff and putting that in charge of our life. So we don't want to start doing a whole bunch of exercises around that brain stuff, because that is the fear. And if we start going, oh, I'm going to put my life on hold because I've got to go fix this thought, that is the very thing we're afraid of. So when I say people, like, watch out for that. So we cut out the compulsion. We continue doing the things we want to do. Second, it's also really useful to have a kind of very purposeful, intentional look at how do you want to practice being you. If we're not being ourselves in the world, if we're not doing things we want to do, if we're limiting ourselves because we think, oh, I've got to avoid things because, so for instance, there's all sorts of things that people avoid with that particular fear. So for instance, if somebody is thinking, ooh, I've got to avoid responsibility at work because those stressors could set me off, and then I'll self-harm. Or, oh, I don't want to, book a hotel on a top floor because there'll be a balcony. Oh no, what if I jump out? Things like that. So if people are avoiding living their lives, it's going to make the brain even more afraid of you losing control of your life, because you've already demonstrated to your brain you would put some random brain stuff in charge of your life and you'd let it limit you. So it's really useful to look at, how do I want to live my life? And how am I going to grow that in my actions this week? So that might be more aligned with what you're looking for in terms of an exposure. When our fear is not living our life, the exposure is to live our lives. And to do that more and more. And the benefit of that, like any useful ERP exercise, is that every time we do it, we're getting to live our lives. We're getting to, like, the success is immediate. I'm not going to spend time and energy on the random brain stuff. I'm going to go and do something that I actually want to do in life. I am going to go and live my life. And the brain loses so much power when it tries to push us around then. So it's like, oh no, yeah, like, what if you lose control and you don't live your life? And you're like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm going to go do it right now, instead of putting life on hold to fix and control some brain stuff. Bizarre Fresh said, do you know about director David Lynch? He shoots a scene until it feels right to him, and he also meditates daily. Do you think he is also attaching meaning to feeling, which could be bad? I mean, I have no idea what his creative process is. I know he's a big fan of transcendental meditation. But yeah, you say, is he attaching meaning to feeling, which could be bad? Like, what is the fear if he is doing something that could be bad? Mateus. So because of your videos, I'm reacting way less to intrusive thoughts, but I also get immersed in good thoughts, fantasies. Mateus, do you have a question about that? S said, if the mind throws wrong ideas, how do I stop correcting it? I make my own theory till the thoughts settle down, or till I'm okay with that thought, so that I can revise the theory whenever the thought appears. And so it might be helpful to just look more generally at, like, spending time on your head, spending time in your head. And yeah, do you want to keep doing that? I mean, because yeah, you don't have to. But it might, yeah. I mean, it'll be a process of learning how to do different things with your head, with your mind. So I found meditation was really useful. So exploring meditation was a useful way to just start learning that we can do things differently in our heads. Georgia, hey. Said, following what you shared on IG, can you elaborate on intellectualization being avoidance or not? This is taught in talking therapies that clients need to get in touch with feelings more, etc. I mean, I wouldn't see it as too, like not needing to go into intellectualizing it. I think, you know, a key thing, and this is something I bring up a lot. Yeah, so for instance, liking a social media post about mental health isn't actually working on your mental health. Just like liking posts about baking is not baking. Liking exercise posts is not exercising. So it's just be, and so sitting in therapy, talking about emotions is not the same as actually, you know, signing up for something where you might feel some emotions. You know, living your life where you might feel, whoa, I feel a whole bunch of different emotions right now as my brain is bouncing around, like trying to get control. That the action is different from talking about it. And so I find this is really important, something that comes up a lot. So when people will say like, I know everything about mental health, or I know everything about recovery, I've watched every video. And I would say that actually that isn't the same as knowing about mental health. It's not the same as knowing about recovery. In the same way that being able to, like if somebody said, hey, I know about the cello. And so you said, oh, okay, like play the cello. And they were like, oh, well, I don't play the cello. I know all the different parts of it. I can label them all for you. And I can read the music. I can tell you what the note, like the names of the notes. Like that's not knowing how to play the cello. That's not knowing the cello. You got to be able to play it. And saying like knowing about a bunch of emotions and talking about them isn't the same as learning how to handle them. And I would say that, yeah, like knowing a whole bunch of like fancy psychology words from a textbook is not the same as actually being able to have that emotion and make a choice that's useful to you. Because, yeah, if you are avoiding emotions, if you have an emotion and immediately it's just knocking you around and it's in charge of everything, then yeah, do you know about emotions? Yeah, that's what I would wonder. Gail said, I'm so self-limiting these days and I hate it. I was always trying new things and very active. I love watching your videos when I can, as it makes me realize most of my thoughts are totally irrational. Oh, it helped me to see all of my thoughts. Well, actually, it helped me to see all my thoughts are really reasonable, but I don't have to listen to them. Landy, enjoy living your life. Gail. So yeah, with meditation, I mean, I recommend exploring all sorts of different types of meditation. Like the brain is really capable. So not having to go, oh, I've got to like find like one particular meditation, but yeah, just exploring a bunch of different kinds. My practice is in Zen meditation. So I'm a fanboy of Soto Zen. And I enjoy what's called silent illumination, or just sitting meditation. And yeah, you just sit. Yeah, you don't even follow your breath, because that would be doing extra things. But yeah, there's all sorts of different types of meditation. And at first, you're probably gonna do. So I'd say if you're just getting into it, starting with something like body scans, I find can be really useful because it gives us something to focus on. And you start to learn how you can move your attention around your body. Landy said you had another question here. Said, I'm hourly revisiting if I made the right decision to break up. I went back to the partner 3 times. Never felt right. I relive this all day. Memories, could it have worked, etc. Recommended exposure. So Lenny, again, the exposure's there. Exposure done. Now it's time to cut out the compulsions. So all of that like checking you're doing, etc. Like all of that, engaging with it. That's like the brain throwing it up. It like that's the exposure. So it's there. Now you get to choose to give your time and energy to something else. Uh, yeah. So what do you want to give your time and energy to in life instead of chasing that certainty? King Kong said, my fears about HIV transmission. What if I get it, or if I already have it, can transmit it to another person, despite never having had sex or other risky behavior deliberately. Yeah, it's a really common fear and set of compulsions. Again, I would relate it to the fear of losing control. A lot of our health anxieties are about, oh no, what if I get a thing in me that is going to take over my life, is going to take control of my life. And so there's all sorts of different things people will be afraid of. Just like, what if I lose my mind? It's like, oh, there's this thing that's gonna take control, and so on. And so, yeah, it'll be really useful to live your life. Jay said, in your opinion, what is the best aspect that ACT teaches us when dealing with somatic symptoms? Sometimes it's hard for me not to catastrophize when dealing with symptoms, oh, despite tests being done. So Jay, the tests, and so maybe this is the thing, and actually, yeah, this is a great example because Stephen Hayes actually has a TEDx talk where he's talking about how when he would go to get tests and he'd go to the hospital because he thought he was having a heart attack. So yeah, you said despite tests being done, but that's the compulsion, an example of a compulsion. So they wouldn't lead to reassurance. Like they would very naturally make the brain want you to do more. So like it could be useful to look at that. Like if you think that getting the test done should have resolved something, that might be useful to see. No, like that of course that would have made it worse. So are there other things that you're doing that you think, oh, this should have resolved it? It could be useful to consider that they might just be teaching the brain to give it even more. And so yeah, with somatic things, like ACT is great. ACT in part was developed around very real physical sensations. So one of the exercises I often suggest to people, and this is on my YouTube channel, is there's a meditation exercise there that is titled like somatic and sensory motor busting exercise number 1, and it's about sitting with discomfort and just sitting with it. So it's about sitting down to meditate and not moving, and it gives us that opportunity to start to explore difficult physical sensations with curiosity and starting to look at how we relate to them, and then exploring how you can take that same practice to many different types of discomfort. So yeah, enjoy exploring. There is, oh, I cannot read your username. And not because it says, I don't know if it says anything bad, but I can't read the letters. She said, hi, I need some help. When you say to treat OCD thoughts as just other thoughts, is that to ignore it altogether? I've tried ignoring altogether though, which works, but my brain doesn't conceptualize getting rid of every intrusive thought, that it takes time to get out of that realm. Yeah, like I would approach all thoughts as thoughts. So that doesn't, I mean, thoughts are there. Like you're still gonna be aware of them. You're still gonna have thoughts and go, oh yeah, that's a thought. But yeah, I wouldn't differentiate that there's somehow like an OCD thought and a me thought and a rational thought and an irrational thought. No, all just brain stuff. Oh, Landy, I'm glad the book and the videos have made a difference, have been useful in your life. Yo, thanks for watching and reading and participating today. I appreciate it. Alani, hi. Well, good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Oh, Jishi said when to trust our brain and when to not. Then how to trust ourselves, our judgment. I don't trust my brain. Ever. I'd rather have one of these fish in my head. I don't see any of the koi right now. They all left because they probably knew I was gonna grab one and try to stick it in my brain, in my skull. Oh, oh, person whose name I cannot read. You said I'm Sonic from the last one. He said my current name is My Downward Spiral. Though I did like the Sonic name. Ah, okay, I can see how it says Downward Spiral. It's tiny on my screen because it's like far away. I can see how that would say Downward Spiral. Welcome. So SP, before that you asked about HOCD. So again, this is one of the reasons why it's useful to see that like any thought is just a bunch of thoughts. So an uncertainty is an uncertainty. It really doesn't help to get wrapped up in the topic, right? Your brain's gonna throw up an uncertainty. Again, so HOCD is one of the common, oh no, what if I lose control of myself fears? I call them, there's this kind of set of fears I like to call the identity fears. You see it there going like, oh, like what if I just suddenly lose control of my identity? And so, yeah, the thing to do there is to notice that uncertainty, congratulate the brain. The brain's so good at coming up with uncertainties. But right now you can live your life and you can go and do that right now. Yeah, you don't have to spend, it doesn't matter what the uncertainty is that the brain's throwing up. You can go and live your life. That's a totally doable thing. Everybody, we're coming up on an hour. And yeah, we might just do an hour tonight. Because, and this is great to mention as well, depending on where you are in the world, for me, it's at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. But for some of you, it'll be at night, on Sunday night. We do a meditation sit over on the Mental Fitness Discord server. So on Monday mornings, I lead the meditation sit. We also do one on Fridays. And that time might work better for many of you. And the Friday sit's led by another community member. And so we do regular meditation sits on the Friday and the Sunday night / Monday morning. Yeah, if you're interested, we just do a silent meditation that's not guided. But yeah, if you're interested in joining the Mental Fitness Discord server, send me a message on either through my website, markfreeman.ca, or through an Instagram DM, and I'll send you the invite link. A great community of, yeah, if you've been to some peer support communities and they tend to just focus on, they tend not to be that helpful. On the Mental Fitness Discord server, what we focus on is building skills. Looking at how are we building skills, how are we doing more of the things we want to be doing, and then just sharing about that, which can be really valuable. And of course, too, yeah, we like to explore skills like meditation. And so we do that. So yeah, if anybody has any final questions, get them up there. And then we'll wrap things up so that I go to bed and then wake up and do some meditating. Adam, so you asked, in regards to sensory motor OCD, how can one overcome physical feelings and sensations that are too strong to sit with, ignore, and deal with? Trying sometimes can make me actually fall ill. So I would have a lot of questions about that. Yeah, like that. There's a whole bunch of things in there that to me don't sound useful. Like the too strong. It comes up a lot. Is it too strong? What does that mean? When you said trying sometimes can make me actually feel ill, what are you trying to do there? When you say dealing with it, like I would have a lot of questions about what's going on there. Yeah, so I would check out the YouTube video on the sensory motor physical sensation busting exercise. I'd also take a look. There's another video on my YouTube channel called The Weakness of Recovery. We don't have to fight things. I know that sounds really bad. A lot of the times what we struggle with is this going to war with experiences, judging them as this is this enemy I have to fix. I need to deal with it. I need to clean it away. It could really help to see, yeah, like you're trying to clean away physical sensations. You're like, I must fight this. It could also help to see that there might be a fear there of like, oh no, this thing is going to overwhelm me. This sensation is going to be stuck here forever. It's going to interfere with everything forever. Those fears, and then we try to get control, right? We try to defeat the enemy. But by trying to fight that enemy, trying to deal with the enemy, we're just guaranteeing actually that it sticks around. Like that fight, that, oh, this enemy's strong, I need to be stronger and fight it. It really helped me to see that keeps it around. James. So yeah, you said, so irrelevant of the topic or thought or bad thought, the brain throws up. The holy grail is to go and do what we want to do while having any thought or feeling and sweat it out without compulsions. And see that, yeah, like it doesn't have to be sweating it out. One of the things we'll have to come back to is to look at how to make it easy. Because again, the sweating it out, and yeah, some of this work is going to be really difficult, but in the sweating it out, we can often see those compulsions we're doing. Like, I shouldn't be having this feeling. I've got to fix this feeling. I've got to get this thing. I've got to control this thing. What will make it easy? So yeah, we're going to go do the things we value. And we can just do them. That's enough. Blooper 785, thank you for stopping on by, tech support. S&P, thank you so much. Mud, thank you. Kimberly Bauer, do I have a favorite novel? Do I have a favorite novel? Oh, I have a lot of favorite novels. I like novels a lot, so there are a lot. There are like a whole bunch of favorite ones that I would like at different times and in different places. Just another brick 94. Oh, thank you. Thank you for stopping on by. Landy. So it seems things I once clearly wanted have been hidden by the OCD. Hoping they return as I work through it. Marriage, kids, is that common for past values to return as you work through your fears? Again, so I would watch out for like this idea that values are like a thing that returns or that is very passive. It helped me much more to see values as a thing we choose. Like, yeah, if you want to explore, what were the ones you mentioned there? Marriage and kids. Yeah, like you can choose that direction. I wouldn't wait for it. Because if you're waiting around for the brain to go, ooh, I want this thing now, like it's not going to let you have it. So you keep on doing things to try to get it. If you're looking, oh, I want that feeling of like this is the right direction. No, if you're like, no, like those are things I want to go and do. Those are things I wanted to do in the past. There's no reason I can't not go and do them. I don't have to wait for some feeling to tell me I have permission to go and do them. You can just go do them. A lot of struggling with our brains is just waiting for the brain to give us permission to go and live our lives. And yeah, it's like asking a toaster like what you should do with your life. You don't have to let it depend on a feeling. Jisha, I'm not sure what you're asking there. Chezius, what are my thoughts on existential questions? I have no thoughts on it. And he said, some scientists believe we don't have free will, so how can we make changes if we don't have control over anything? Don't want to trigger anyone. So yeah, the free will, again, yeah, so everyone, we've had a great kind of a theme of the night being the fear of losing control. That's also why you'll often see people triggered by the free will question. Landy. Oh, I'm glad you caught one of these live sessions too. Oh, and you had coffee in New York City this morning. I'm glad we could join you for coffee in New York City this morning. James, thank you. Oh, happy book reading. If you have any questions as you're going through the exercise in the book, yeah, always feel free to ask and reach out. Downward Spiral said, it's just I'm treating the thoughts as nothing but my brain isn't conceptualizing being fully without OCD. It'll only work well if I go to each different fear and build up that OCD hiker. I don't know about that. The brain doesn't need to conceptualize anything. I would, like, you can really, it'll really, for me, getting over mental illness really felt like my brain had to catch up with me. Like, it's okay to leave it behind and be like, hey brain, I'm gonna go live my life, and if you want to come join me, you can, but it doesn't have to like be on board with it. Flomo, oh, thank you for being part of the community. Oh, thanks for joining us today. Adam, yeah, check out the videos and yeah, let me know if you have any questions, right? Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Rocky, yeah, I hope to do some workshops in India again. Groovy said, how can you know when you've recovered enough to help other people deal with anxiety? So I mean, one of the things, I don't help people deal with anxiety because like anxiety is fine. So there's nothing to deal with. What I find important to look at is approaching, if you want to work in mental health, creating supports for people, approach it like cooking. I don't share anything that I don't know how to cook. And this, I don't know if you were here earlier, I was talking about the difference between saying like, oh, I know about mental health, but not actually being able to like implement the changes, is like saying, I know how to play the cello, but not actually knowing how to play the cello. Or another one I often use is that this stuff is just like making toast. I know how to make toast. I can make toast for myself. I can explain to you how to make toast. If you don't know how to explain something like making toast and you don't make toast, then it'll be really difficult to share that with somebody else. But you may be at a point where you're just learning how to make toast. Like maybe you've only learned how to make one kind of toast. Like where you take the big slabs of bread, you get like a big loaf of bread and you cut it up in huge slabs and then you just coat them in butter and then you put it in a frying pan. Delicious. And you're like, yeah, I don't know how to make other kinds of toast, but I know this. And I'm learning how to make other kinds of toast. You can also share about learning how to make those other kinds of toast. And that can be a great experience where you're also saying, hey, like, this is something I'm working on right now. And yeah, I haven't totally figured it out, but here's how I'm working on it. And I want to share that with you. It's really important to come from a place of sharing our personal practice. And right, so this is something that, yeah, this is something an approach I would take, right? Absolutely, there are other approaches. Like you can go to school to be certified in helping people with mental health while having no personal skill whatsoever. There is also a path like that. Personally, I think it's really important to have a personal practice. Very similar to physical fitness, that, right? Like when somebody works with me for coaching, we're working together to tap into that personal practice. And I'm not gonna give them any kind of exercise that I wouldn't personally do in the gym. So yeah, so you could start exploring how you make toast and sharing that with people. Well, 11 Ellie. You never thought you'd be able to catch one of these. We are just wrapping up too. But then you asked, do you have any advice on the fear of not sleeping? So this is also on our topic today of the fear of losing control. We've been talking a lot about this. wanting to control sleep, the fear of not sleeping, often also linked to, oh no, what if I don't sleep and I lose control of my mind? What if I don't sleep and it damages my health? What if I don't sleep and I never sleep again? All sorts of ones like that. But again, it's this fear of losing control of something we want to control. So one is embracing the uncertainty, just like anything. So if there's this fear of not sleeping, awesome, amazing opportunity to tell the brain, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sleep ever again. Why would I sleep? I'll never sleep again. It's gonna completely screw up my life. And giving that a big hug. When people are running into challenges with sleep, I always suggest they start looking at what they're doing during the day. At the end of the day, we only have the brain we've been teaching throughout the day. So I'd also look at that, both embracing the uncertainty and fear and not doing compulsions around it. Also looking at, like, what am I teaching my brain throughout the day? Because when I get to the end of the day, it's gonna wanna keep doing whatever I've been teaching it. Whoa, and then the commoner. Yeah, you asked, which videos on your channel do you recommend for lowering anxiety so I can sleep? None of my videos, because that sounds more like a recipe for disaster. I would look instead at what's creating the anxiety, what are the compulsions happening throughout the day, and cutting those out rather than getting to like, oh, I'm gonna do a whole bunch of things during the day that aren't useful, and then at the end of the day, I'm gonna try to find a way to lower anxiety. I would see that as a compulsion that's gonna create, it's just gonna teach the brain to do that more and more and more and more. Oh, and then SG, you also asked, I have a fear of losing control. This is, we'll just make this live. We won't call it Brain Tech Support Live. This will be the losing control live stream. Yeah, and so here you said, I feel like I'll yell inappropriate things in front of people. I have an exam next week, what should I do? Well, so, I mean, you have an exam next week, you can do the exam. The reacting to the fear and trying to control things is just going to confirm to the brain, like, oh no, this is a thing we have to worry about. It can really help to see that when there's something like an exam, which you don't control, which you're uncertain about, the brain is going to throw up intrusive thoughts, often intrusive thoughts that we are both terrified of, but we know are unlikely, precisely because it's trying to give you something you can control. Right? It's not a coincidence at all that you have an exam coming up and the brain is like, oh no, you're going to lose control and say something terribly and offensive. It's just trying to give you something to control. But here's an opportunity to see, it's like say to the brain, hey brain, I get it. There's an exam coming up. You're looking for something to control right now. But yeah, we can have this uncertainty. And yeah, maybe I'll say like the most offensive things ever during the exam, but I am going to ace the exam. And Lily, we'll wrap things up here. You said, do you consider agoraphobia as a form of OCD? Well, so like in general, we have tons and tons of labels that we've built up over many, many years. And so I find it more useful to look at mental health and mental fitness. So I think a bigger issue with mental health is that we just went through and labeled all the problems rather than having a focus on like good mental health skills, which we do in physical fitness, right? In physical fitness, you don't go like, oh, I have a strength disorder, and then someone else is like, oh, I have cardiovascular disorder, I have like an endurance disorder, a flexibility disorder. We don't do it that way, right? We look at, hey, what capacity do you want to build? So whether somebody sees themselves as having agoraphobia or OCD, or they've picked up those labels somewhere, if we want to work on getting over them, that work is going to be the same. So I look instead at that. If somebody came and said like, hey, I've got agoraphobia and OCD, I would say to them, like, well, what if we just approach this all as the same stuff? What do you want to be doing in your life? And then we're going to look at exercises to help them do that. We're not going to go like, oh, we got to fix a thing. It's going to be about, yeah, do you want to do things outside of your house? there's probably going to be all sorts of compulsions that are going to be useful to cut out to get out there and live your life. And that's what I would build around. Oh, exactly, Mud. Everybody's losing control. And so we'll wrap things up. We'll wrap things up there, everybody. The exposure around the fear of losing control has already happened. Always so useful to recognize with that fear. Existential fears, the what if I lose control and I hurt myself, what if I never sleep again, etc. That's the exposure. Now you get to live your life. And yeah, if you want to up the exposure, live your life more. Do the things you want to do in life. That is how we tackle that fear. It's by being ourselves. We're afraid of not being ourselves, which makes sense, right? We really want to be ourselves. So let's go out there and be ourselves. All right, everybody. Thank you for dropping by the lobby after our donut conference. It was great chatting. I will see you again in 2 weeks here. We'll do another live, 2 Sundays from now. So not next Sunday, but the Sunday after. We'll be in a different location. And I will see you then. Until then, enjoy living and being yourself.